You're watching Go on Shaw TV, the book edition. Well, hello there. You are watching Go on Shaw TV. It is the book edition because we are here in the book counting room, the book sorting room at the Royal and Art Centre because there is a big annual event coming up. Melissa Martin, what's coming up?
Our annual event, which is coming up in May, which this year it's bumped back a week, so hopefully people will mark their calendars for that. It's taking place on May 13th and May 14th at Echo Centre.
Okay, but what is it?
It's our giant annual fundraising book sale. So hopefully everybody will come down, mark your calendars. I know it's a big event for the community. We usually do it on Mother's Day weekend. However, this year a bit of a change, so hopefully people will mark that down on their calendars and come by. It's a very important fundraiser for us, especially this year above any years. We've had a very rough year financially because of the loss of lots of grants.
And when she says this is their big annual fundraiser, this is huge. And book lovers out there, you already know about this because you walk into a room that is overflowing with books, high quality books.
Absolutely. I mean, we take great pride in having beautifully kept books, and that's really what we try to sell.
And this fundraiser works because the community participates in it. We're going to tell you about that in just a few minutes, how you can get involved, why they need your help this year. I'm going to keep digging through the boxes. I found one of my favorite books, The Poisonwood Bible. I can highly recommend that book, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to tell you more about this book sale in just a few minutes, but first, Jenny Fortin is going to introduce us to a man who prefers to be human even though he hangs out with a group of extraterrestrials. Really?
Some people say that temporal mechanics give them a headache, but I find it absolutely fascinating myself.
Temporal mechanics, also known as time travel, is a popular theme in science fiction. And to be perfectly honest, Gary not only enjoys time travel, he also has a thing for sci-fi in general.
Although my wife is very supportive of me, she does not share my love for science fiction. So it's nice to have family that do.
That's right. Gary has found his sci-fi family, a group that truly understands things like temporal mechanics.
We're a club that's mostly focused on Star Trek, but most of us are interested in sci-fi in general. Unlike the other sci-fis, which are a little negative, like Star Wars and stuff like that, Starfleet, Star Trek is very positive oriented. It's an organization that's based mostly for exploration and for the betterment of humankind.
Being a part of the official Star Trek Fan Association, the club's mandate is to celebrate all things Starfleet. And as you can see, there's nothing but games on tonight's agenda.
I've always enjoyed playing board games, and this game is, Seen It is one of my favorites because you may think you are very knowledgeable about Trek, but when you play this game, you find out what you don't know.
Captain Kirk!
Captain Kirk!
I said Kirk.
No, I said Kirk.
He said Kirk, yeah, I said Captain Kirk. Let's see if it says Kirk or Captain Kirk.
Of course
Captain Kirk.
It's a lot of fun because it's a subject everybody knows that's involved with our group. So we all know all about Star Trek. Some of us are better in certain areas than others. Some are better at identifying ships in games like the one currently on. And I particularly like the Klingon Monopoly now because the last time we played it, I've never won Monopoly in my life, but that night, girls ruled.
Now, board games might not seem very important, but for a group like this, it really is.
It's the key to a group living long and prospering, if you will. So, you need to take care of your members as well as your community, and all of the interplay and the exchange that happens when you've got a real live person sitting with you it's very special, and we try to honor that part of our human condition. We're not all Borg.
Borg, Klingon, or Ferengi. To Gary, this group is special. And given the chance to test time travel, he wouldn't change a thing.
These are wonderful people, and just, you know, they're family. They have become family.
The Alberni Deep Space Port Starfleet Group is always open to new members. For Go, on Shaw TV, I'm Jenny Fortin.
Port Alberni is, by its very name, a port city. Stretching up from a saltwater inlet, it's long been a haven for both commercial and recreational fishermen who coexist alongside industrial users. But as the city has embraced a more diversified economy, the call for greater access to waterfront has gained momentum. And perhaps no project better typifies this shift in values than the Boardwalk Wharf complex now being constructed adjacent to Fisherman's Harbor.
So we are developing the Somas land and a boardwalk, and provide a service station at the end of the pier to provide fuel, water, and also an opportunity for fishermen to empty their gray water and oil water as well too. So a full service center at the end of the pier.
The new boardwalk will allow tourists and locals access to a larger, more picturesque section of waterfront than ever before. Access made possible by a partnership between the Port Authority, Island Coastal Economic Trust, and perhaps most importantly, the city itself.
We contributed $300,000 or up to $300,000 towards making this boardwalk and this development possible for a number of reasons. One, because of the economic opportunities for the larger community. Second one, because it helps to complete Harbour Quay.
And along with the acquisition of a small portion of beach formerly owned by Esso, it also completes a pedestrian corridor that stretches between Fisherman's Harbor all the way to the Maritime Discovery Centre and cements the working partnership between the city and the Port Authority.
We are getting very involved with the user groups. We have created a platform for kiteboarders. We are a supporter of Canal Beach. This is something new. I mean, if we don't diversify, we may not survive.
And in Port Alberni, diversification means, at least in part, tourism and livability built up from and around the water.
It is critically important for us as a community. It's part of the Vision 2020. It's part of what people like to do. People like to go to the water. They like to look at the water. They like to see the activity that's going on in the water. They like to stand and just watch it.
Well, there is plenty to see at the moment, as work is proceeding very quickly on the boardwalk project.
So we actually expect to complete everything except the fuel dock portion by May 31st. We have been delaying this project not by choice for some time, so right now it's time to wrap it up.
Wrapping it up will involve having a full-service marine fuel dock in place by July, something that everyone on the water is looking forward to.
This is one of those projects that we're really proud to be part of. We're proud to be part of the final capping of this area. It's something that the city and the Port Authority have been working on jointly for decades. And to be part of this piece, it's great. Great news for us.
For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Nancy Beaumont. Well, hello again. You are still watching Go on Shaw TV. We are here in the book sorting room downstairs at the Rollin Arts Centre. And this is where all of the books, the thousands of books, get sorted for the annual book sale. But I've got to say, Melissa Martin, looking around, these tables aren't as full as they have been in the past.
Yeah, and that's why we're really asking for help from the community. We want everyone to look into their libraries as such and see if they have any books they'd love to donate to us, because this really is a worthwhile event for us. It's very important that we keep up the standards of the beautiful books that we do sell, but we certainly are very low this year.
And talking about keeping up the standards, You have quality control here. You take good books. There's nothing dog-eared about this book sale.
Yeah, it's a win-win for the community because lots of people do bring in books that aren't necessarily the quality that we want, and we hand those off to Alberni Literacy and some other other organizations in the community. But we pride ourselves on the books that we do sell at our book sale.
And I can vouch for that. I usually leave with an entire box full of books between my husband and myself. We leave with lots of books, high-quality books, and every year at this time we go through our bookshelves, and there are some that you just can't part with, books that become part of your family story. But there are other books that you've read that you want to share with the greater community. How do they donate them?
They can drop by anytime at the Roland Arts Centre when we're open. We're open Tuesdays to Saturdays, 11 until 4 p.m. Or give us a shout. We have had, over the years, families who they wanted to get rid of a collection of books, and we've actually gone and picked them up. I'm not recommending that, but we'll certainly do that in the occasion that it's open to us.
Wow, we're going to tell you a little bit more about the book sale. We're going to remind you of the dates in just a few minutes, but before we do that, can you believe it? I met a builder who is framing a house that's going to be torn down in just a few weeks. There's a rhythm to carpentry, a give and take, a measure and fasten that creates an almost musical flow to the work being done. A flow that Nathan Kierenstead moves with effortlessly.
I've done a lot of residential construction in Port Alberni, built houses, quite a few houses in Port Alberni, and renovations as well.
And if construction, if building is a dance, well, it's a dance that is well choreographed.
I had a drawing. It was pretty well done. I had to modify a few things, but it was the layout was given to me, and I made it as close to what I was shown.
And here's the thing. This well-planned, finely executed construction project isn't happening in a backyard or even on a city lot. It's being built on stage because Nathan is creating what is arguably the most famous house in theater, the set for The Diary of Anne Frank.
The Anne Frank house is so iconic. It's a huge part of our history, and being able to recreate our interpretation of it on this stage means a lot for everybody coming to see the show, means a lot for the actors to act on a set this extensive. It's probably one of the biggest, sturdiest sets we've ever had at the Capitol Theatre.
The biggest set for an iconic play being performed by one of the youngest casts, students from the Stage's Youth Theatre program.
We're just completely excited to just share the story, especially with the amazing pieces we got. We have really an amazing group of people helping us put this on. I think the youngest person is 12.
The way our youth theater is split up, it's split up into different companies. So for this one, Company 1 is the students acting, but we will have Company 2 students running all of the tech backstage.
Company 1 on stage, Company 2 behind the scenes, and parents, like Nathan, volunteering to help it all come together.
Community theater, it's volunteer-based. Trying to get all of our ducks in a row with volunteers is definitely a challenge.
Well, the set will definitely be ready on time. And as for the actors, Carrera says the audience is in for a real treat.
I really think they are. They've put in the time and the effort and the work, and it's really paying off. And I think when the audience comes to see the show, their hard work will show through.
The kids are fully up to the challenge. I think capable to put on a production like this. I think it's going to be a really good play.
The Diary of Anne Frank opens at the Capitol Theatre on April 8th and runs Friday, Saturday, and Sundays until April 17th. For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Nancy Wilmot.
Well, welcome back to another edition of Art Avenue. Wonderful to be outside in this lovely sunshine in the Alberni Valley, so hopefully you will mark your calendars for all the coming events that I'm going to be speaking to you about in this segment. Our next exhibit that's taking place at the Roland Art Centre is titled Wandering, and that's with local photographer Roland Semjanovs, and that begins on April 7th at the Roland Art Centre. Mark your calendars for his meet and greet, which happens Saturday, April 9th from 1 until 3. Also, too, we've been talking lots about our annual book sale with the Community Arts Council, and Nancy and I were speaking about this earlier, but just a reminder for everybody to donate all their gently used books to the Roland Art Centre for our annual book sale, which takes place beginning on May 13th. And here's what's happening at Shars Landing. On Saturday, April 2nd is Dr. Bowen's Blues Project, and that's a follow-up house call, and that's a bit of gospel and infused blues. Sunday, April 3rd is the Fretless Spring to BC, and that's Celtic String Quartet. On Saturday, April 9th is Celtic Chaos in Concert. That's a bit of a mouthful. Celtic music, songs, tunes, and stories. And Saturday, April 16th is CFMA, nominated John Brooks and Neil Cruikshank, and that's a bit of folk. So if you want your advance tickets for Shars Landing, stop by today. The Barclay Sound Choir has Let's Shake It Up, and that happens on Sunday, April 17th, and tickets are available at the Roland Art Centre, Salmon Berries and Echo and some of the members. And Timber Choir, now their concert happens the weekend after, and that begins on April 24th at 2:30 at ADSS, and that is Time to Say Goodbye, which is going to be sort of bittersweet, saying goodbye to longtime conductor Patricia Miller. Tickets for that are available again at the Roland Art Centre and Echo, Finishing Touches, and at Salmon Berries, and again from members. So certainly mark your calendars for those and pick up your tickets today, because I know for a fact those two sets of tickets will go by quickly. Also, the film festival is back. The Alberni Valley Museum is putting on a film festival, a series of 3. One has already gone by, but the next one is Lady in a Van, and that takes place on Sunday, April 10th, I believe, yes. So if you want to pick up your tickets, stop by the Alberni Valley Museum and get those today. Well, that's it for another edition of Art Avenue, but before I go, I mentioned to you earlier that I would talk about Days with the Arts, and that's taking place this year with the Solstice Arts Festival, and that's June 17th to the 19th. So if you're interested in taking part in the Community Arts Council Days with the Art, stop by or give us a shout at the Roland Art Centre, and I can give you a little bit more information about that. Tables are available to rent at the Roland Art Centre, and I think it's going to be a wonderful event. So if you're interested in having any of your information shared here on Art Avenue, contact me at the Roland Art Centre. So until next time, I'm Melissa Martin for Art Avenue.
Well, I've got to say, I don't know how Melissa Martin managed to get from the book sorting room out onto Art Avenue so fast, but she did it beautifully. Well done, Melissa. Now, we're going to take a bit of a break. I'm going to dig through these boxes because you never know what kind of book you're going to find. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Well, welcome back. You are still watching Go on Shaw TV. We're still downstairs at the Roland Art Centre. We've stepped into the book bin. This is this large bin just underneath the stairwell where books are collected before they are sorted. And you know, the same thing happens to me every year, Melissa. I come out to do this story and I find great books. Like, there are wonderful books. I found Weekday Wonders, Healthy Light Meals for Every Day. I don't know, cookbooks always nab me. What did you find?
This one is the ABCs of the Bible. So we do certainly get lots and lots of array of books. So.
Huge variety of books. There's cookbooks, there's mysteries, there's novels, there's history, there's
healthy living. Coffee table books as well. So there's a whole array of books.
A whole array of books, all good quality, nothing dog-eared. Prices are pretty darn good.
Yeah, extremely good. I don't want to reveal those, but I think everybody knows what those prices are.
Now, there are still a few folks out there that haven't been to this annual event. Where is it?
It's at Echo Centre, and it begins on Friday evening, May 13th at 6 p.m. There's usually a queue up, so people really want to get there early because there are thousands and thousands of books. When I say thousands, there's thousands.
She's not kidding. Thousands of books. I do try my best to make a good dent in them when I leave, but there are lots of books. If you want to contribute, again, how do people drop off books? Where do they bring them?
They can drop off books here at the Roland Art Centre on 8th and Argyle, so they can certainly come down anytime we're open. We're open Tuesdays to Saturdays, 11 until 4 p.m. So certainly, please help us out with book donations.
Help them out with book donations. Help them out with book purchases. This is a great event. If you're a reader, You're going to want to mark it on your calendar. Melissa, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Now, we're almost at the end of Go, but before we say goodbye, we're going to head down to the waterfront for a few stories.
Relics from our history and lost pieces from the past. They are thick with rust and overgrown with blackberry vines. This is what you might call an industrial graveyard. It sits at the back corner of the city works yard, where one day Paul McDougall happened to spot a diamond in the rough.
I guess how it started is with walks along the railway tracks, especially with my dogs, because I saw it, and I wondered why it was there. Specifically, why does the city have it?
Paul did some digging, literally. After asking the city works about it and getting Dr. Jamie Morton of the Alberni Valley Museum to look into it, Paul ripped the thorn vines off and dug it out of its shallow grave. But what Paul and his team saw before them was not exactly a sparkling jewel.
We had been warned that it was in pretty rough shape, but when I saw it, I thought to myself, oh, that's just a pile of rust, and it isn't even going to come upright and stay in one piece.
After being forgotten about for 20-odd years, this boom boat was resurrected, and its fate was decided upon.
We realized, of course, that these little boom boats have worked in the canal with the logging industry for decades and decades. And that if we had a boat like this sitting on the quay by the Maritime Museum, people would be able to look at the boat and would be able to see the same kind of boat working in the harbor just a matter of a few yards away.
Refurbishing something this decade was no easy task.
A lot of cleanup. There was a lot of oil inside and sludge. We had Hetherington come and give us a good deal on cleanup inside. Then it was just a matter of painting, and putting new windows in.
The boat is now refurbished to the point where it's ready to be moved to its new home.
It feels great. The more things we get down at the museum, the more people will come and see it. It helps Alberni, and us people, we have fun doing it. So it's a win-win situation.
But there are still some questions out there regarding the history of this particular boat.
If anybody knows the history of this boat better than we do, we'd love to hear it. We will eventually have an information panel by the boat in the yard there for people to read, and we'd like to get as much accurate information as we can.
For now, though, this refurbished boom boat is basking in its newfound glory at the Maritime Museum. For Go, on Shaw TV, I'm Jenny Fortin.
We're here on location in front of the Tatouche, a boom boat, because we're talking a little bit about boom boats, a lot about loggers. I'm here with Tommy Marr to talk about a coffee date that's coming up. Tommy, what's coming up?
It's our Sprout Lake coffee time. We call it Sprout Lake, but all the other divisions are welcome to come too. Franklin and Sarita, Cameron, any of the guys like to come along and yak about a bit of logging, and the management and the girls from the office or whoever, and contractors.
And contractors. And these coffee times always have a bit of a theme. The theme this time is, among other things, boom boats.
Yes, we just thought we'd feature a boom boat because we had a very large boom crew at one time, over 110 people at Sprout Lake. Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's a lot of folks working, and you're holding something deadly in your hand. What is this, Tom?
It is deadly. It's a very short pike pole. It was used for for maneuvering the logs around. You could either pull them or you could boat them, push them along. Yeah, yeah.
And I was warned on our way out here, never walk in front of a man with a pike pole, and
No,
I
that's
won't
right.
make that mistake. Now, this is coming up April 12th. Where is it held?
It's going to be at the Steel Makers Hall, and Steel Workers Hall, I should say, and it's at from 1 till 4.
And I know there's going to be a lot of photo albums there. A lot of folks have brought photos with them, or will be bringing photos, and you're hoping other people do as well.
We're hoping other people will too. We've got a lot of the old safety calendars, and if somebody from Franklin or one of the other divisions could bring a few along, or even the guys at Sprout that have a collection, bring them and we'll spread them out on the table and have a good look.
Spread them out on the table, have a good look, have a good yak, because I know these gentlemen, they can really talk.
That's
Thanks
right.
so much, Tom.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me, I couldn't resist opening a book and starting to read. There is just so much here. I can hardly wait for the sale, and I'm going to go through my bookcase and pick out a few that I can bear to part with. Until we meet again, start reading.